Hey all, and welcome to Shadow of Space, and today we are commenting on another BCP video. This is called Jimmy Kimmel lashes out in panic over mass calls for Disney to fire him after Trump joke backfires. This was uploaded April? We can do it here. April 28th. This is being recorded April 29th, and link is in the description.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Much of the manifesto of the would-be assassin is indistinguishable from the words that we hear daily from so many. For example, as the First Lady of the United States pointed out this morning, just 2 days
Does he
prior
use a
to the
laugh
shooting,
track?
ABC's late-night
that
host
an
Jimmy
actual
Kimmel
audience?
disgustingly called First Lady Melania Trump an expectant widow. Who in their right minds says a wife would be glowing over the potential murder of her beloved husband? And having experienced what I did with the First Lady on Saturday night, I can tell you that she was anything but that.
I mean,
this kind of rhetoric about
like, to me, that would be, the response of someone who was like a gold digger, who didn't actually like her husband, who was literally just there for the fame and the money.
about the president, the first lady, and his supporters is completely deranged.
I don't even quite
American
understand what
consuming
that
it
comment
night after
means.
night
I'm
after
going to be
night.
honest.
As President Trump said on Saturday night at this podium, we as Americans must recommit ourselves to resolving our differences peacefully and uniting around the shared values that make our country great. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things, and they are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop.
The breaking news is that now it's not just...
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, we're back.
The First Lady, it's the president who's saying Jimmy Kimmel's got to go. Not the first time he said it. Not the first time that it's mattered to Jimmy Kimmel's got to go.
Are inspired to commit violence because of those words. It has to stop.
The breaking news is that now it's not just the First Lady, it's the president who's saying Jimmy Kimmel's got to go. Not the first time he said it. Not the first time that it's mattered to Jimmy Kimmel's employers. Look, you can feel however you want about the joke, but it is a joke. Did it age well? Nope. No, it didn't age well, given what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But are we really going to punish comedians? Why doesn't any of these networks just put comedians on there that like Trump? How come they don't do that? Maybe it's because the audience doesn't respond well to it. Oh, yeah, it does. Gutfeld does well. Fox is like the one outpost for the far-right conservatives. You really think Greg Gutfeld would work?
Far-right conservatives? Are there any Republicans that aren't far right, or are they all far right? I get confused sometimes. They don't ever say that there's a distinction, so I can only assume that there isn't.
So we got to continue our coverage of the backlash that the left is receiving in the wake of the latest assassination attempt on the president and members of the administration, because the more information that comes out, the liberal media has to admit that the would-be assassin was a far-left radicalized lunatic who probably was watching CNN, probably watching BS Now, and this contributed to his radicalization of what otherwise appeared to be a pretty smart and intelligent guy, right, who went down the Blue Anon rabbit hole.
Andrew Kaczynski, K-File, you have new reporting on the suspect of things you found just combing through his social media. So we're talking about this note, but you found a whole lot more. In fact, thousands of things more. Like what?
Well, that's right. We reviewed 4,700 posts from 2 social media accounts that appear to belong to the suspect, and they include comments that compared the President Trump to Adolf Hitler, encouraged others to critical of his presidency to purchase guns. Now, a Justice Department official confirmed to CNN that this X account, C-Force 3000, belonged to Allen. And then there's another account that appeared to belong to Allen on the website Blue Sky with biographical details that matched his life. Now, both of these accounts have been taken down, but we reviewed information from them on the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. Those posts show a very clear shift over time. Early on, He was using his Twitter account mostly to post about the video game Super Smash Bros. He was promoting his own content, but then 2024, this changes and he's sharing a lot of political content that's very, very critical of Donald Trump. Now, Allen appears to have started posting on Blue Sky in February 2025. That's just a few.
Wasn't he a teacher? So he taught and he made Super Smash Bros. Let's Plays on the side?
Few weeks into Trump's second term, the account frequently criticized
confused.
Trump administration policies and lamented that more powerful figures weren't taking action against the president. He wrote in one post, "Everyone knows that Trump is an effing awful person in multiple dimensions and no one has done shit." Some of the other posts and reposts advocated for gun possession and purchases. One post, he said, best time to buy a gun was days ago in December 2025. And he added, the second past time is today. The last month, he posted that Trump was a traitor. The posts also echoed arguments that he made in the message that he allegedly sent to family members.
Because where I get caught is if you say that you want free speech, then for as crass and inappropriate as all of this sounds, you have to say, but I want you to be able to say it.
Before the attack, that laid out a plan to target Trump administration officials and expressed anger at their actions. Now, in the message that he allegedly sent to family members, he signed off with the nickname Cold Force. That's similar to both of these accounts.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Leftists and liberals are facing massive backlash for refusing to acknowledge the reality of the rhetoric that has gotten us to this place where conservatives and Republicans are the frequent targets of assassinations and assassination attempts. But clearly, leftists don't really give a damn about that because a lot of them, they're low-key in support of the assassination culture that is unfortunately
They think it should have happened.
taking over this country, right? In fact, a lot of them think it's a joke. Like, for example, Jimmy Kimmel, who is one of the biggest cheerleaders of the left in the Democrat Party, who is now facing backlash for a joke going wrong once again in the wake of an assassination attempt on the president of the United States. Because as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, he made a joke about Melania Trump being an expectant widow. Now, a lot of people thought that this went too far, right? That this was beyond just a joke. And there are now massive calls for him to be fired coming from Melania Trump herself and also the president of the United States. And others are saying, no, Jimmy Kimmel needs to go. That he's not a comedian. He is a left-wing political activist at this point. And
Didn't this happen once before? Where he said something and he was going to get canceled, and then he cried about it, and then they decided not to cancel him. Was that Jimmy Kimmel or was it someone else?
It's really getting out of control, some of the things that he's saying on air, okay? Because this is not the first time he has made a very, very, very inappropriate joke in the wake of an assassination or assassination attempt. Everybody remembers the backlash that he got. In fact, he was taken off air for a joke that he made about the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Be widow. What is your response to Jimmy Kimmel's continued division with his platform?
Well, he shouldn't be on the air, of course. I mean, he's not a comedian. He's not a satirist. He's there to hate President Trump. Disney knows that. But
Other
Disney
half?
runs a couple operations like The View.
O'Reilly.
As all they do is hate Trump.
Of course, has the complete
the First
opposite
Amendment protects them.
position.
We, the people, can't haul him off the air. But there's no reason for Jimmy Kimmel to be on there. What's the reason? I don't understand. It's not entertainment. All he's trying to do is damage the president of the United States and the office of the presidency.
No.
And goes after Melania
He thinks that someone thinks that it's funny. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said it.
Trump saying he's going to be a
Someone
widow.
supposedly
That was
laughed at it.
before, of course,
Enough people laughed
the
at
shooting
it that
at
he decided to
Washington
use
Hilton, but
that
it doesn't
joke
really
on the
matter.
air.
So my question is to
Either
Disney, why?
either that or he didn't care and he literally just wanted to say it because he hates Donald Trump so much, and he has a platform that he can say he hates Donald Trump so much. But at which point you have to, at which point you almost have to say that's political advertising. It's like anti-political advertising, where you aren't advocating for a candidate, you're advocating against the current candidate.
You're doing this. For what? You're not making money off Kimmel. Very few people watch him. You polarize the whole country. People take it out on you and your revenue goes down. Why are you doing this?
Look, dude, you have a right to believe whatever you want to believe, and I have a right to believe whatever I want to believe.
See, exactly. So why are you all getting so mad about what Jimmy Kimmel has to say? I'm gonna be honest, I don't even watch Jimmy Kimmel. I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched anything that he's ever done. I don't know if I would think that he's funny. I don't know if I would care for his sense of humor. I have no idea. Why do you all care so much about what Jimmy Kimmel thinks or has to say? I don't.
You have a right to say whatever you want to say.
I didn't care about Jimmy Kimmel before it was cool.
And I have
Sorry.
a right to stand flat-footed in my stance and say what I
Hold
want.
on. She's taking a stance against the First Amendment while her husband stands against the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment.
Say, we don't stand on the 3 F's around these parts: fiction, fabricated lies, and fallacy. And of course, y'all do it frequently, that part. Floyd is not coming against his First Amendment right. Jimmy Kimmel has a right to say whatever he want to say whenever he wants to say it. So do you, so do I, honey. But remember, just because you say it don't mean that you are free from consequences of what you said. You could say...
Well, see, and this is the problem, is that hold on. Freedom is the ability to do things without barriers. You could make an argument that a consequence, a negative consequence, that is enforced upon you is a barrier. So if you believe in freedom, if you believe in true freedom, then no. You go back.
Constantly, you are use a right to say whatever he want to say whenever he wants to say it. So do you, so do I, honey. But remember, just because you say it don't mean that you are free from consequences.
So yes, you should be free from consequences for the things that you say. That is what free speech would entail. Freedom would imply, true freedom would imply that there are no consequences for any action. You should be free to do anything. If you've seen the Futurama episode about Freedom Day, like, they already logicked this out, where no, freedom implies you can do anything. There is no limit. There's no limit. There's no boundary. There's no point where if you think, can I do this? The answer would be no. You would if you wanted to grow wings and fly, you would be able to. You would have the freedom to. That is what freedom means. True freedom.
Or what you said. You could say constantly
should be horrifying.
That you believe that all Trump supporters are the scum of the earth. And then you go to your job and the owner of that company is a Trump supporter. You may get fired. And guess what? They have a right to do that. How about that? Understand that Jimmy Kimmel comes live out of Los Angeles, California. California is an at-will state. At will, they could dismiss you or they could retain you. Either or. And that is most states in the United States of America.
I mean, I don't know how that works with, like, contracts, but
it ain't going nowhere. If they were to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel, they're not violating his civil rights. What would they be violating? The fact of his gender? Would they be violating his religion? Would they be violating the color of his skin? Would they be violating his age?
Well, they would I mean, really, they're letting him go for his rhetoric, right? For his views. For because just did he even write the joke? Did someone else write the joke for him?
Ability? No, they wouldn't be doing any of that. If they got rid of him, what they're saying is we're protecting our brand. See, y'all got all that smoke for Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, no, the first lady, and she violating the First Amendment right. But when Jaden Ivey was waived from his team, no smoke. They were right for doing it because he was violating the NBA brand.
Listen, President Trump is calling on Jimmy Kimmel to be fired by ABC due to a joke that he made. I mean, you might have seen this. I mean, what's your take on this?
My view generally is that, of course, political violence should be denounced across the board. It has no place in the United States of America, whether it's directed at the left, the right, or the center. Everybody needs to take the temperature down.
So,
yes.
So are you telling
Hakeem Jeffries, right here, right now, confirming language is violence. Thank you.
Jimmy Kimmel needs to
No,
take
with
the
respect
temperature
to Jimmy Kimmel, I haven't seen the comments that prompted Donald Trump to respond, and so...
Kimmel made a joke calling Melania Trump an expectant widow. And this was on last week's show, and now, of course, after what happened this past weekend, Trump is saying he should be fired.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that Jimmy Kimmel can speak for himself. The notion that Jimmy Kimmel should be fired, I mean, everybody needs to take the temperature down. That includes Republicans and Democrats, people on the left, people on the right, so we can get to a place where we can debate ideas. That's all fine.
It's amazing that we sit at this table and everything is Donald Trump's fault. And when you call and put up a picture of the First Lady and you laugh about her being a widow and her husband being killed who's already been shot, that somehow that is Donald Trump's fault and he's mean to Jimmy Kimmel and wants Jimmy Kimmel gone. I don't know who you talked to the White House. I'm around the White House. I promise you a lot more than you are. The president has not talked about this at all.
Well, I also...
At all. Like,
sure.
It's on the list of things he gives you know what about, it's down here. But when you go on TV...
The thing that he sent a Truth Social post about this?
After it was said, you can respond. And by the way, if this was a joke, Jimmy Kimmel could have immediately been a comedian and said, hey, in light of what happened tonight, that was a joke. I apologize for it. I'm sorry. Because a real comedian would say, but he didn't. And you want to know? You would do it immediately. At Twitter, I can tweet right now on your show.
But hold on. I think the
he
question
he knows he's not going to get fired. But
has there been a comedian that has ever said a joke that has been distasteful where they've come out after they made the joke and they were like, I'm sorry, that was really offensive and I shouldn't have said that? I don't think that happens.
He wanted her to be a widow.
Because comedy is nothing more than a shield to just say whatever you want to say. And have people laugh at it, laugh with it.
To a 56-year-old woman who is married to an 80-something-year-old man.
I think when you've been shot at 3 times and now, or this being the 3rd and 4 different times he would try to kill you, yeah, I'm going to go out there and say Jimmy Kimmel's a smart guy. And I think he's saying a widow, and I think the audience laughed that way. They weren't laughing at an age joke.
I'm not going to try to be clairvoyant about what Jimmy Kimmel
It's a weak stretch.
But I will say that we played...
See, and this is what I had heard coming into this, was that he had intended it to be, because he made the joke before the shooting, and it was supposedly intended to be a joke about their age difference. Again, I don't quite understand the context of the joke. I didn't see the whole joke. I saw the line out of context.
We played the lead up to the joke so that you could hear the rest of the context. I'm not saying you need to like the joke, but the rest of the joke was the president, what if something were to happen to the president tonight? Is there a doctor in the House or Jesus?
We've been here before several times with Jimmy Kimmel. I mean,
he hates
at the first, I think the first lady.
Nobody's questioning that part.
No, but he's crossed the line.
Nobody's questioning
He's totally crossed the line on what
think he likes Trump? It doesn't matter.
You think he likes
First Amendment issue.
It's not. I'm not arguing First Amendment. He can say what he wants to say, but it's public airways.
Hold on a second.
ABC should fire him. ABC should fire him. The first lady is right.
Well, no, because Elizabeth Warren, when she was questioning the one guy that Trump wanted to have replace the Fed chair, she was like, do you have the courage to be able to just stand up to Trump, to speak your mind and to not just agree with everything that he says? That was an important criteria. Just because Donald Trump tweets something or puts something on X or puts it on True Social doesn't mean that the people that he targets has to actually do what he puts up there. Like,
that is what ABC should be doing.
It's social media. It is his initial gut reaction to whatever it is that happened. It doesn't mean that people have to actually do something. It doesn't mean that anything is going to come of whatever happens as a result of people seeing his tweet.
Now, I just find it
if you don't, I keep calling it Twitter. Sorry. If you don't even have a true if you don't even have a true social, I don't even know the name of his platform. You don't even see it. I don't even see it. I don't like.
You have liberals on this CNN panel, including Abby Phillip, who is defending Jimmy Kimmel.
This is
right?
people who spend far too much time on the internet.
It's just a joke, right? Just a joke. Except it's not just a joke if it's the other way around.
Yeah, okay, well, this is just a joke. Maybe if you were better at telling jokes, Jimmy Kimmel, you wouldn't get fired.
Like, for example, when this happened on her show, this guy, Godusky here, who made this joke to Mehdi Hassan, he was never invited back on the show, right? He was kicked off the show permanently. He was fired from the show for this joke.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing it.
You're called an anti-Semite. You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I don't...
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that...
Did you just say I should die?
You should not...
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
This is actually a reference to and a mass coordinated, I believe, Israeli strike. I can't remember, and I don't want to point out nations, but that was what they did, was they hid explosives in beepers, and then at once they had them all go off, and it killed a whole bunch of people.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope you don't...
let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Hamas?
Guys, let me
stop. Palestinians.
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
I apologize.
Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against
Ryan,
That's disgusting.
that is completely...
I apologize.
That
Good
is
job, CNN.
completely...
Let's have
But saying that Melania Trump would be happy if Donald Trump were dead and she were widowed is completely fine and acceptable. Even in context, like
don't say then I apologize. You literally...
I thought you said Hamas.
You didn't think I said Hamas. I said I supported Palestinian rights.
Yes, I did.
Implying that
what's funny is
he is older than she is, he is going to die first, and therefore she is going to be able to remarry to anyone who is better than Donald Trump. Implying that either he's a bad husband or that she's just a gold digger who just wants the fame and the attention.
Rudy Giuliani said this yesterday, so you're a great guest to be here to defend Rudy Giuliani.
But again, I haven't seen the lead up in the context of the joke, so...
Don't let these leftists gaslight you into believing that they are now pro-comedy, right? They're pro jokes. They're not. They're not. Because again, we
Well,
already know.
see, I mean, that's all he would have had to have said was, "Oh, well, I'm just joking. I didn't actually mean it." And maybe he did say that. They all kind of started talking over each other, and it was kind of hard to say exactly what was going on. But like, it's just a shield. Say, well, it was just supposed to be a joke. I was being offensive, but you were supposed to laugh at me being offensive.
What the reaction would be if it was the other way, right? We just saw it. We just saw it. This guy banned from CNN. Got banned from CNN for making a joke, right? Now all of a sudden, oh, well, it's too far. You're attacking the First Amendment if you say that Jimmy Kimmel should be fired. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but Jimmy Kimmel has responded to the backlash, the calls that he's receiving to be fired from ABC/Disney. Take a look.
I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm and a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow, which obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together.
See, because I don't get that. That doesn't even make sense. If you didn't see the context of the joke, it doesn't make it. It is not clear at all that it is supposed to be about their age.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it, because...
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Let's say this, first and foremost.
See, I mean, it isn't even there for him to tell jokes. It's for them to sit there and applaud and cheer at the fact that he's right. It's not a comedy show.
To be fired is not an attack on the First Amendment.
His comedy show is me doing this. Is him doing this.
The reason why is because that nobody is jailing Jimmy Kimmel for what he said. Right?
Live.
Nobody's saying that he should be thrown in prison.
Late night.
That he should be punished criminally for what he said. Okay? So it's not an attack on the First Amendment. It is no different than when liberals decide that they want to boycott some conservative or to make a conservative lose his job because of something that he said that does not reflect well on his employer, right? It's the same thing. Except when it happens to the left, all of a sudden now it's the attack on the First Amendment, right? But when it happens to somebody on the right, it's accountability. It's funny how that works. Now, when it comes to the joke itself, I can't give Jimmy Kimmel the benefit of the doubt. It's because he have a history of making these types of jokes around assassination.
Well, I mean, like, did you think it was funny? Did you get the joke?
Right?
I don't even get it.
He has a history of this stuff. And we know that he's not a real comedian at this point. He's just a left-wing Democrat Party activist, right? He's a propagandist disguised as a comedian.
No, he is literally a social media influencer. That's what he is. That's what they all are. Modern day equivalent.
We've seen late night comedians, aka left-wing propagandists, lose their shows because of the fact that nobody watches them. We saw Stephen Colbert, what happened to him. I think the same thing's gonna happen to Jimmy Kimmel, to be honest with you, right? You know, if Disney wants to go ahead and fire him, it'd be a great business decision. But they got him on a short-term contract, and I think his career is almost over, to be honest with you, right? I know for certain when Trump is out of office, he's gone. They will have zero usefulness for him. So, you know, in my opinion, I think that
I don't know what's in Disney's hands,
people can
really.
call to have Jimmy Kimmel fired, but I think eventually Disney's going to let him go because he's not worth
I mean,
it, right?
obviously, eventually Disney's going to let him go.
Is that you can't
And
really
then
fire him
he's
right
going to
now.
end up here with the rest of us.
Without taking a whole lot of backlash from these far-left lunatics in the mainstream liberal media claiming that, you know, they're bending the knee to Trump, right? They're obeying in advance. This is Trump weaponizing the government to force Disney to fire Jimmy Kimmel. Like, doing it right now is just bad optics, right? But I think eventually he's going to get fired. He's going to get fired. I mean, he's washed up. He knows it. This is why he has to stick to the anti-Trump content, right?
Oh, I mean, again, right? What Elizabeth Warren said about people standing up to Trump, I'm going to say about Disney. Just because a whole bunch of crazy people on the internet yell about how this should happen doesn't mean they have to listen to them. They saw the joke. They know the context. They can make the decision about whether they want to keep him on as someone who's supposed to be entertaining people, or whether they want to let him go. Unless the Fed steps in and actually finds grounds to do something about it.
Is because he doesn't have anything else, right? He can't do actual comedy, so he has to stick to what is going to be perceived as comedy to a very niche, smaller audience, right?
We'll see, but so if it is comedy, even if it's just to that smaller group, does that not make it comedy? If it's niche comedy, it's still comedy. It's just comedy for a smaller audience. It doesn't mean it isn't comedic.
It's only getting
then.
smaller and smaller. Okay, let's be honest. That's just the fact about late night comedy for left-wing comedians. Okay, can't say the same thing for, you know, Greg Gutfeld and people on the right, right? So-called conservative comedy. There's an actual demand for that, but there's a reason why the demand for this is going down on the left, right? And I think ultimately the free market is going to take care of Jimmy Kimmel, right? Because I don't think he's going to last that long. So,
well,
let me know what you
because again, like you talked about last time, I think that there were because some of the people that Disney also potentially employs might have been at that dinner, might have potentially been shot. It's different when you're actually there in the situation, having to grapple with the fact that a gunman almost broke in through the door and tried to kill as many people in the room as possible. Jimmy Kimmel didn't have to go through that. He wasn't anywhere close. He didn't have to do that. Don Lemon didn't have to do that. I mean, they literally would have been fish in a barrel. Would have been just target-rich environment all over the room. Like, but they'd rather laugh about it because that's their status quo, is to laugh about it because it's a big joke.